The truth is, gourmands are here to stay. Gourmands are big business, and people really love wearing gourmand fragrances that smell like things we love to eat. Desserts, treats, yummy things, delicious sweets, and things like that. So I've got a list of great gourmand fragrances that you should be wearing right now. Find out what they are coming right up. Thanks so much for tuning in. You don't know how many times I get comments that say, why would you want to wear something you eat? But I say, why not? I love the way when my desserts come to me, I smell them, they smell great. Why not wear them, right? So yeah, I'm a big fan of gourmands, vanillic gourmands, nutty gourmands, caramelly gourmands, chocolatey gourmands, coffee gourmands, so many different styles. There's a lot of them here that are really, really great. And it's a list of 21 fragrances. Some are new, some are old, but all very delicious gourmand fragrances. Let's get started. MANCERA's AMORE CAFFE, one of the most recent releases from MANCERA. It's a fragrance inspired by an affogato. So basically you've got vanilla ice cream, black coffee, vanilla, amaretto liquor, vanilla pods. So it's really overdosed with vanilla, but you have that black coffee effect or the espresso effect. I don't know if you guys have ever had an affogato. It's one of my favorite treats. It's basically ice cream drizzled with a shot of espresso or maybe 2 shots, and then it melts and it turns into kind of coffee, milky, absolutely delicious. And that's what this one's all about. But for me, this one, the espresso or coffee does disappear. You're left with faint reminder of the espresso in here. So it creates a bit of spiciness, but in the end, it's very vanillic. So it's basically a really delicious coffeed vanillic gourmand. MANCERA's AMORE CAFFE, super amazing. Moving on to the House of SORA DORA, it's JANY, this one right here. So JANY is a fruity gourmand, a bit bready. There's puff pastry note, inspired by a tarte tatin that you can get in France. So it's caramelized apples, pastry dough, and all of those things that goes into creating this. But there's also fruity touches and almondy touches as well. Cinnamon spice comes in to give you that kind of warm holiday-ish vibe. But it's really authentically smelling like that kind of buttery, caramelly, apple fruity tarte tatin fragrance, or the dessert, I should say. If you haven't tried this one, please do. It's one of my favorite offerings as of late. Really a great inspiration for a really delicious dessert that I actually really enjoy eating. Next, going to the House of DS and Durga, it's Pistachio. So Pistachio is an overdose of pistachio nuts, so it's quite nutty and a bit green. There's also spices in here and additional nutty notes. There's cardamom, there's roasted almonds. Along with these 2 notes, there's also some vanillic touches, and I feel like I get some patchouli in here as well. But in the end, it's quite creamy, but very nutty. The pistachio nut is quite in your face because it's kind of in the top, heart, and base notes. So when the experience you get with this fragrance is quite pistachio, it doesn't appear afterwards, it doesn't appear at the beginning. It's all the way through, but along the way you got the almonds and then the vanilla cream that's in here as well. So it's DS and Durga's Pistachio, quite a delicious gourmand. Then we've got Unique Luxuries Istanbul. So a lot of these fragrances are inspired by things I like to eat, and this is actually a kind of like a orange blossom Middle Eastern dessert. So this is kind of like the Love Don't Be Shy fragrance. It's basically kind of vanilla caramel marshmallow with orange blossoms, but in a more concentrated way. We all know by Killian's Love Don't Be Shy has gotten weak as heck. This is a really, really potent variety of that. It's neroli with vanilla, toffee, grapes, woody notes, lemon tea, jasmine, pink pepper, citruses, geranium, and musk. It's actually quite delicious. Just imagine having orange blossom syrup drizzled on top of, you know, this very creamy, smooth, luxurious vanilla ice cream. It's what I get with it, and I've had that specific treat, and it's amazing. This is Unique Luxuries Istanbul. Please try it if you like the idea of a citrus floral note with this creamy vanillic consistency. Up next, we're going to the House of DIOR. It's vanilla DIORAMA, this one right here. I would have loved to have brought out Fève Delicious, but sadly it's discontinued. This one is still selling. This is actually inspired by a dessert. It's inspired by a dessert that Christian Dior used to have at a restaurant in Paris. So basically it's kind of like a cake, very vanillic with lemony orangey touches, chocolatey touches as well, some booziness in there, lots of spices. Absolutely a delicious fragrance. If you haven't tried this one, you must try it. It's one of the best from the Dior Privé collection. And remember, recently I said it's probably one of the best values out of all of the the designer exclusive collection of fragrances. Dior Privé Vanilla Diorama, quite a yummy fragrance. Moving on to another coffee focused fragrance, we're going to MONTALE. It's Ristretto Intense Cafe. I've been promoting this one more lately because I was a big fan of the original, which is not so coffee. This one is more coffeed, and it's kind of like basically taking Intense Cafe, adding a boost of maybe a couple of shots of espresso to it, and creating a new fragrance. So it's coffee, rose, vanilla, musk, caramel, floral notes, and amber. But really delicious. If you know the original, you've worn it, and you've never worn the Ristretto version, and you like the idea of a coffee boost, definitely try Ristretto Intense Cafe from MONTALE. It's quite a delicious offering from that house. And again, I've been a big fan of the original, but now I'm obsessed with this flanker of that original. But moving on to the house of Gallagher fragrances, it's Rosé All Day. So a rosy, honeyed, brown sugary take on an apple crisp, basically. Do you like the idea of this? This is super delicious in that way. This is more of an indie house, but actually really wonderful dessert gourmand offering. So it's featuring notes of apple crisp, honey, rose, brown sugar, patchouli, plums, vanilla, lapdanum, tonka beans, sandalwood. There's a major spiciness in here as well. I feel like I'm getting some warm holiday spice vibe. It's also the way the apples are intermingling with some of the notes perhaps, but I get that kind of apple pie-like effect. It's apple crisp and sort of maybe lightly hinting at JANY as well, but they're two different fragrances. But this is really, really great. It's another rose gourmand, and it actually really works with the whole apple crisp, brown sugar, honey, caramelized type notes in here. Really absolutely delicious. Rosé All Day. One of the best from Gallagher fragrances, I think. But moving on to the house of AMORE, it's Lilac Love. So who'd think that you would make a gourmand fragrance with lilacs, right? And it does work. Lilacs do have a bit of almondy touch to them. When you smell them, just focus on the lilacs. See if you can pick up a kind of almondy essence in there. And it's a given they combine the lilacs here with Heliotrope, which is also another flower that has almondy touches. So it's powdery. This is a very powdery fragrance. So it's lilac, Heliotrope, cacao, vanilla, tonka, orris, gardenia, peony, jasmine, rose, and sandalwood and patchouli. But you know what? The really intoxicating combination of notes here: the lilacs, the heliotrope, the cacao. It's almost like a cacao sprinkled on top of the lilacs flowers and the heliotrope flowers in here. And then of course you've got the orris, creates that powdery effect, and the vanilla touches for a really wonderful gourmand with floral notes, I should say. The wonderful offering from AMORE. It's Lilac Love. One of the best from that house. Next, moving on to the house of Guerlain, I decided to go with this fragrance. It's Tobacco Honey. One of the most recent launches from the house of Guerlain, and to me, even though it has that tobacco, which I don't consider a gourmand, everything else in here is very gourmand, especially with the overdose of honey. Sweet, powdery. That realistic honey smell in this is quite phenomenal. So it's the honey with the oud and vanilla. There's that tobacco, tonka, sandalwood. There's a bit of nuttiness from the sesame, and the anise and cloves comes in to give it a spicy edge. Really, really wonderfully warm and spicy honeyed fragrance. Guerlain's Tobacco Honey has been a favorite fragrance of mine as of late. Then moving on to the house of L'Artisan Parfumeur, it's Mandarina Corsica. Recently featured this in a layering video. I use another mandarin orange fragrance to boost up the mandarin qualities, but if you don't like that idea, keep it as it is, because it's a really delicious mandarin orange gourmand. So it's mandarin oranges with caramel, immortelle, tonka, vanilla, bitter orange, cinnamon, sandalwood, maltol, and orange blossom. It's almost like you're dealing with some kind of mandarin orange cookies, basically, with some sticky caramelly consistency in here. It's absolutely really delicious, and I didn't think that this kind of a fragrance would be quite good. You've got that immortelle note in here, which creates that kind of brown sugary, bit of doughy kind of an effect here against the caramel, the mandarin orange, the tonka, and the vanilla. It's quite delicious. If you haven't tried this one, I highly recommend it for a different take on a gourmand fragrance, but really, really super delicious. This is Mandarina Corsica from the house of L'Artisan Parfumeur. Next, going to the house of BDK, it's Velvet Tonka, one of my favorite fragrances from this house. Really yummy. Lots of almonds here. There's tonka beans, bourbon vanilla, and we also have some tobacco, but this is like tonka beans to the max. It's not necessarily something identical to like the two discontinued fragrances Fève Delicious and Tonka Imperial, but it's kind of an idea that's similar, but going in a different direction. We're focusing on Tonka beans, we're focusing on almonds here, but this one also has tobacco. There's the orange blossom here, which gives it a different kind of an effect with the fragrance, and then there's also amorous, amberwood, and rose in the mix as well. For me, this is kind of like a Tonka take on Love Don't Be Shy. Light, I should say, because the orange blossom is there. You'll notice it, but it's not super intense like Love Don't Be Shy, or the one I'm featuring here is Istanbul. But either way, try Velvet Tonka. It's quite delicious. But moving on to the house of Kerosene, we have Unknown Pleasures. Really delicious lemon chiffon cake kind of a fragrance. That's absolutely one of my favorites from this house, and I've been a fan of it for like 2013, 2014, somewhere around there. It's Earl Grey tea, lemons, bergamot, honey, tonka beans, caramel, vanilla, and waffle cones. If you like the idea of a citrusy, gourmand, citrusy notes with vanillic notes, kind of a, like I said, lemon chiffon cake idea, this Kerosene Unknown Pleasures is definitely one of the best. Absolutely delicious. And again, I've been a fan of it for years, going on 10 years almost, or maybe over 10 years. So it's quite a delicious offering from that house. Then next up, I've got a duo of fragrances back to back from the same house. I skipped on Bake from this house, but I'm featured because I featured the Kerosene Unknown Pleasures, similar idea. Different smells, similar idea though. I'm featuring both Awake and Dark from this house. And the reason I'm doing them back to back is because you can also layer them. First of all, Awake is a coffee focused fragrance featuring Santos coffee from the Balkans, green cardamom, Italian lemon, Haitian vetiver. You know what? It's one of the best coffee fragrances, but I always say with acro fragrances, they do seem a bit thin, and that's why I layer these two together. But I'll tell you what it creates. The dark features notes of cocoa, dark chocolate, cinnamon, hazelnuts, and vanilla. So it's kind of a spicy take on chocolate, cocoa, dark chocolate kind of an effect. But the two together creates for a mocha. Imagine you go into Starbucks or some coffee shop and getting a mocha, so it's chocolatey with also the coffee, caffeine kind of a thing. Super delicious combo. Again, I think the fragrances are easy to wear here. I like the brand, don't get me wrong. I really love the brand actually. And some of the earlier fragrances are some of the best. But alone they're good, and layered together, like I said, you get that mocha effect. But moving on to the house of Profumo di Firenze, it's Fior di Pane, this one right here, for a baked bready, bakery, patisserie kind of a smell. That's super delicious and to die for. So this is utilizing notes that are not necessarily considered very gourmand. I mean, there are some notes in there that might be considered gourmand, but most of the notes are not necessarily, like bergamot, violet leaves. It says notes of bread, orange blossom, cypriol, iris, vanilla, tonka beans, vetiver, cedarwood, musk. So it's vanilla, tonka maybe, notes of bread, maybe the iris kind of giving you that effect. But to me, it smells like baked bread. Very, very steaming, hot baked bread. And if you ever walked into a bakery and you know that smell, maybe they're baking not necessarily bread, but like sweet treats with bread or dough, this is the fragrance for you. So it's Profumo di Firenze, Fior di Pane. Wonderful, wonderful offering. Next, moving on to the house of Xerjoff, it's Casa Morati Italica, this one right here. Italica is basically really yummy, gooey, toffee fragrance, and just the way that Xerjoff does their fragrances. They create really, really amazing gourmands. They also do some great work with oud, but I prefer Xerjoff's gourmands quite a bit, and this is one of their best. This is saffron with almonds, milky notes, bourbon vanilla, toffee, sandalwood, white musks, and it's kind of a milky, creamy take on toffee, nutty, creamy, sticky, sweet, and quite delicious. The only other thing is they don't mention fruits. I do get a bit of a fruity vibe. Let me know if you guys get a bit of a fruity vibe. I'm not sure if it's subconscious because of the bottle color. Like I feel like I'm getting some red berries or something, some kind of like cranberries, raspberries or something. It's in there. Just search it out. Anyway, it's Casa Morati Italica from the house of Xerjoff. Next up, going to the house of What We Do Is Secret, and this is Messy Sexy Just Rolled Out of Bed. Are you guys familiar with this one, with this very interesting name? This is a really delicious toffee-like fragrance once again. It does feature toffee. It's quite powdery, and there's also fruity elements in there as well, with some floral touches and citruses and amber. It's an overdose of toffee with that kind of nutty, almondy heliotrope, so it's quite powdery, as I said. Vanilla is in here quite a bit as well, and then tonka to provide some additional, nutty qualities here. But the musk and the peach blossom, even though it says peach blossom, I'm getting actual peaches peaches, because peach blossom I've smelled, it doesn't really smell like the actual fruit. But for me, it's very peachy along with all these other gourmand notes. It's quite delicious and very, very cozy. And I like the name very much. Messy, sexy, just rolled out of bed. Yeah, it's kind of a very kind of comforting, going to sleep, kind of sleeping with this really delicious perfume on kind of a thing. Really awesome smell, and I believe this is created by Dominique Ropion, but this is Messy Sexy Just Rolled Out of Bed from the House of What We Do Is Secret. Next, going to the House of Imaginary Authors. It's a whiff of waffle cone. This one right here, the current version of this. This has notes of vanilla, salted caramel, Saigon cinnamon, heavy cream, sandalwood, orgeat, and scoop shop. It's a collaboration with a ice cream chain called Salt and Straw. The collaboration happened, I think the fragrances were selling at the ice cream shop in addition to Imaginary Authors website, but I think now it's everywhere. You can buy it everywhere, so the price did go up because it was a little less expensive. But if you like the idea of this really creamy, salted, caramelly, gooey, and also waffle coney kind of a fragrance, this is the one for you to try. It's quite delicious and really smooth, but also a bit textured. You can experience the kind of woody texture. I feel like the DNA of the brand is here, and once you get to recognize the DNA of the brand, it's in under here with all the gourmand notes covered. It's a bit spicy as well with the cinnamon note, but really great offering. It's a whiff of a waffle cone from the House of Imaginary Authors. Then we're going to the House of Atelier d'Azur. It's Rouge Sarré. Really like a Middle Eastern fruit dessert drizzled with honey on top kind of a thing. It's quite delicious. One of the best from this house. It's also very, very warm and spicy. So it does have a bit of a holiday vibe. It just kind of, you know, when you put it on, you're just comforted with it because the kind of smells I grew up with, because cinnamon and honeyed and fruity things, just the way like Middle Eastern desserts are usually. That's kind of what the inspiration to me is, Rouge Sarré. But it's cinnamon, plums, dates, vanilla, patchouli, Peru balsam, gaiac wood, heliotrope, and sandalwood. I wouldn't say this is uber gourmand, but it is. I think it is. The heliotrope provides that powdery nuttiness. Peru balsam creates that kind of sticky, gooey, balsamic touch, which kind of, you know, tricks me to think it's kind of honeyed or something. But really great offering from this house. It's Rouge Sarré. Next up is the very polarizing fragrance from Tom Ford, Vanilla Sex. I know not a lot of people were fans of this one. I'm not 100% sure why, but I actually really still love this one. It's one of the best Tom Fords that I've purchased in the last couple of years, 3-4 years maybe even. I just love the way the nougat kind of quality is here. It's just really delicious as a vanilla fragrance. It's nutty, doughy. Again, it reminds me of nougat that you would buy and eat. Very delicious. So it's vanilla absolute, vanilla tincture, ultra vanilla with bitter almonds, sandalwood, tonka beans, floral notes. There is a little bit of muskiness when it's drying down as well, but up top, just imagine vanillic dough, vanillic toffee, vanillic something that's got lots of nuts in it, like you know, almonds and things like that. That's what it reminds me of. So Vanilla Sex, check it out. Maybe you like it, maybe you don't. It's quite pricey though. And then I'm going to end the list here with Zoologist Perfumes B for a honey bomb. So B is a favorite fragrance of mine from Zoologist Perfumes, and it's the perfect honey fragrance featuring notes of royal jelly with honey, benzoin, vanilla, mimosa, heliotrope, broom, orange blossom, sandalwood, labdanum, and musks. This one actually has a lot of spring floral notes, mimosa, heliotrope, broom. They all kind of provide a little bit of their own honeyed qualities to the honeyed notes that are in here. But there's the vanilla and the benzoin in here in the base notes to give you that kind of sticky, gooey consistency with all the powdery touches of the honey and the floral notes. Super, super amazing. It's a great, great fragrance inspired by one of nature's best creatures out there. So this is B from the House of Zoologist Perfumes. I personally think that's the best from that house, because I like gourmands, so gotta go with that one. There's a few others that come close, like Chipmunk and a few others, but that's tops for me. Anyway, that's the end of the list for you guys. Again, as I said, gourmands are here to stay. I think people really love gourmand fragrances. They're very comforting, soothing. And even I've been reading articles out there. The trend is just, I mean, it started a long time ago, but it's kind of like still going strong, is what I've been reading. But one of the very early gourmand fragrances was Angel by Mugler. So it started 32 years ago, the original Angel for women, which to me, if you think about it, is it really gourmand like the gourmand fragrances we have? But the reason I wanted to do this video is because a lot of folks come and say, why do you want to smell like food? Why do you want to smell like food? answer that question for me. Put a comment down below so I can find out, so everybody else can find out. But I'm in big love with Gourmand fragrances, and I wanted to share these 21 Gourmand fragrances with you guys. Thanks so much for watching today. If you have any questions or comments, please list below. Please like this video. Please share it. Follow me on Instagram and Facebook, and I'll be back with more videos very soon. Have a good one. Goodbye.